The cells of your body that do not give rise to sperm or eggs are called somatic. Oh, come on. The cells of your body that do give rise to sperm and eggs are called germline cells. I'll get rid of this and write it a little bit better. Okay. So, normal cells beget normal cells. Now, sometimes normal cells result in a tumor where these cells are unregulated. Doesn't mean it's cancer. Could be, could not be. If it doesn't invade other cells, it's benign. Benign cells, tumors can be dangerous. They can kill you, but certainly not the sort of danger that normally is imposed on the body by cancer. And we have malignant, which are invasive cells. These can be non-metastatic. That means they invade surrounding tissue, but they don't move. In other words, they don't get into the bloodstream or the lymphatic system, and so are not necessarily as dangerous as metastatic cancers. And then metastatic is traveling cancers. That means they become unanchored and can travel in the lymph or the circulatory system to other distant parts of the body and produce tumors elsewhere. So, we want to look down here at the bottom. Okay, here we go. Okay, at the bottom. And we've got anchorage dependence, cell cycle control, and contact inhibition. And each one of these goes up above, either here, here, or here. So, cancer cells differ from normal cells. They divide when they shouldn't because of loss of which one? If you said cell cycle control, you were correct. Invade surrounding tissues, that's loss of which one? Anchorage dependence or contact inhibition? If you said contact inhibition, you are right. And then moving to other locations, anchorage dependence. We'll call it AD. So, 1 second. Okay, radiation therapy is least effective against tumors that have low lost what? So if you want to know, you should go back to the last lecture on cells division and cancer, and you would see that it's the ability to undergo apoptosis, which is cell so why is it good to take multiple biopsies from a single tumor? Because unregulated cell division leads to increased genetic diversity. That's true, because a given drug may be effective against only one part of the tumor. It's also true, because a tumor evolution can occur. That's also true. So I'll say that all of these are true. Oh, it says go to Top Hat. Let's see here. Do I want to? No, I've put up all the answers on Top Hat. You can check that out on your own. So let's take a look at this. This is mitosis review. So if we start, we'll start here. Okay, so this is G1. This is where most cells spend most of their time, growth and normal metabolic roles. Now, if a cell is going to go and reproduce itself during mitosis, it's going to go then from the G1 into the S phase, where it replicates all its DNA, so there's twice as much as before. Then it'll go into the second growth phase, so growth and preparation for mitosis, and then finally into the mitotic phase, which includes the prophase, metaphase, which is all the chromosomes. Here we go, come on. All the chromosomes line up along the middle and then pull apart during anaphase. And prophase is when the spindles pull the chromosomes, the duplicated chromosomes, and they line up. And then telophase, which finally ends, and then telophase and cytokinesis kind of happen at the same time. So the nuclear envelope reforms, and the two cells that each have a full complement of the DNA pull apart into two separate cells. So asexual reproduction. Well, mitosis, essentially, you might call that asexual reproduction of cells. A lot of individuals, cells like bacteria and stuff, undergo asexual reproduction where they create clones or copies of themselves. During asexual reproduction, there's no eggs or sperm. The offspring are genetically identical to the parent. In other words, they're just like identical twins. So, back to this again. The cells of your body that do not give rise to sperm or eggs are called what? And what? Well, let's ask. somatic. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about vocabulary. So, somatic cells are diploid. They have each of 2 chromosomes. So, and each pair is called a homologous chromosome. So, these are homologous chromosomes. You get one from each parent. Okay. And then non-homologous chromosomes. And these are different. So if you look up here, these are the 23 or 22 pairs of chromosomes that we have, plus we have a sex chromosome. Females are XX and males are XY. So each of the 22, there's a chromosome that comes from your parents, one from the father and one from the mother. And so right here, each of these comes from one or the other. And they're homologous. They're the same chromosome. They might have different alleles on it, which is different gene variants, but the same genes are on each chromosome. So a karyotype will display chromosomes and what they look like. It can be obtained from a cell at any stage of the cell cycle. As you can see, here on the left is a nice, beautiful karyotype. Here on the right is a less beautiful karyotype. Here you can see the X chromosome and the Y chromosome. God damn it, this thing is terrible. Okay. Diploid and haploid. So, if you have a single one of these chromosomes, right here, that's haploid. If you have both of them, that's diploid. We, meaning humans and other multicellular organisms, are diploid. So we have our somatic cells have 2 of each chromosome. These are diploid. Each one of those is a haploid chromosome, but they're paired. So we're diploid. We have 23 chromosomes, homologous chromosomes, including the sex cells and the sex chromosomes, for a total of 46. So somatic cells, 2 times 22 is 44. And then we have X chromosomes and Y chromosomes for male and female. X's are XX is female, XY is male. Excuse me. So, here we are again. Our somatic cells have 2 of each chromosome, as I mentioned before, and these are diploid, right? And so they're homologous chromosomes. Human somatic cells, 2 times 22 plus the 2 sex chromosomes. Now, During cell division for meiosis, in other words, for the creation of sperm and eggs, we get down to haploid. And that's why we get one haploid set of chromosomes from our mother and one from our father. So eggs and sperm have one of each chromosome. Example, right here. Okay, this is not a homologous chromosome, this is a single chromosome and it's haploid. There's no homologous pair of chromosomes in haploid, only haploid. Human eggs and sperm, there are 23 total chromosomes. In the diploid state, there's 46, 23 pairs. In the haploid, there are 23 single chromosomes. So, meiosis. Now, meiosis and mitosis are similar but different. Mitosis just copies a diploid cell and makes a direct copy of itself, a sister copy. Meiosis produced is gametes, and those sperms and eggs, for reproduction, sexual reproduction. So I mentioned you can have asexual reproduction. A lot of all bacteria do it. A lot of eukaryotic cells do it. Some do. Some eukaryotic cells do both, sexual and asexual reproduction. But in sexual reproduction, we have meiosis. So this occurs within the germline and reduces the number of chromosomes by half. Eggs and sperm are therefore, they're haploid instead of diploid. Now, when an egg and a sperm come together, they fertilize. The sperm fertilizes the egg, creates a zygote, this is a fertilized egg, and it restores the diploid number of chromosomes. In other words, 23 pairs or 46 chromosomes total. Excuse me. How would you design meiosis? Well, you would probably break up each of these. Oh, come on. Chromosomes and make copies of them. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Starts like mitosis. Ends like mitosis. So with replicated DNA and separation of sister chromatids. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look. 1 second, I'm going to make some stuff bigger. Okay. So, okay. Now, so mitosis, you duplicate the chromosomes so you have 2 sister chromatids. So here's a parent cell for each. I don't know why this is fucking doing this. Okay. So, This is before chromosome duplication. So here's prophase, metaphase for mitosis. They all line up along the middle. And then finally anaphase and telophase, in which they pull apart and you have two daughter cells. Okay, now in meiosis 1, similar things happen, but you actually have not only chromosome duplication, but a tetrad of two homologous chromosomes are formed at a synapsis. Now, each one of these individual chromosomes for the tetrad is going to end up as a single gamete. The tetrads line up along the metaphase plate. And then anaphase and telophase, you now have these daughter cells, just like before, but they're sister tetrads, right? So they're in two daughter cells. So these are actually haploid cells. Now, there's no further chromosomal duplication in meiosis 2. What happens is the chromatids, which are, remember these things, split apart into single daughter cells, and each one is haploid. Okay? So you have 4 haploid gametes. And that's what happens in meiosis 2. So a gamete will have all 23 chromosomes for humans, but they'll be haploid instead of homologous pairs of chromosomes. They can either be sperm or eggs. So starts like mitosis. There's one special cell division inserted here. Okay. And then in meiosis 2, we end up with haploid cells. Okay. And it's like mitosis 2, and then you have meiosis 2, which gives you the final haploid cells. So, meiosis and fertilization. Meiosis occurs in which kind of cells? Germline cells. Mitosis involves somatic cells, okay? And produces haploid or diploid gametes. Gametes are always haploid. The fertilized egg is called the Okay, so the question is, why have sex? It's a good question. Well, the first reason, of course, that I mentioned in class is that it's fun. But it's actually kind of interesting in evolutionary biology. Um, Asexual reproduction is actually a more efficient way. If you have 10 asexually dividing organisms, and they divide once, they make a copy of themselves. And so they go from, let's say you have 10, you go from 10 to 20. With sexual, you need male and female, sperm and eggs. So if you have 10 individuals, you only get 5 back. So, of course, there's a big debate. Well, what do you get then? Sex is pretty common, especially among eukaryotes. Not all the time. Sometimes they go between asexual and sexual reproduction. But it's still ubiquitous, and the question is, of course, why? Well, there's a bunch of different hypotheses. The ones with perhaps the most evidence to support them is that in environments that are heterogeneous, in other words, different from one place to another, or in time, that gives sexual organisms an advantage. Because through recombination, you can get you can get genetic combinations that in some individuals might perform better in one environment versus another. And in fact, that you can overcome that normally twofold advantage of being asexual. The most common sort of idea for this is originally called the tangled bank, but one example is having hosts being infected by pathogens and parasites. And parasites and pathogens generally can reproduce much faster than multicellular organisms, and so would have an advantage. But through sexual reproduction, we can end up with different variants of combinations of genes that make that individual perhaps more likely to be resistant to a certain pathogen than another. Okay. And this is where we stop. And you can go to lecture capture, and it'll start on from this place right here. And you can follow that all the way through until here. And that'll start where I'll start recording again in a bit. But I'm going to shut it off for now because it's getting late. Okay,